Hi, I'm Akhil.
And number one now.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing the new Dibakar Banerjee movie, which is now on Netflix, Love Sex Aur Dhokha 2. Disclaimer, I haven't seen the first one. So is it related to them? Have you seen that one? Is it related to this one at all?
No, I think this is just like they've just
Like an
taken the name.
anthology, right?
Yeah.
Take. Fair enough. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's a series of like three not really interrelated, separate movies, barely connected to each other. Sort of like what Netflix does with its anthology stuff. Yeah, basically that. What do you think of the movie?
Yeah, this was, I don't know, it was like almost unwatchable for me.
Yeah, I
Which,
thought of quitting like at least like 5 times in the first segment.
yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you tend to kind of stick with it partially, at least for me, because it's Dibakar Banerjee and he hasn't really made a bad movie ever. So
Right.
there's that. But
And
then
the
this
fact
one
that I have
is,
to watch the whole thing to make sense of it.
yeah, but which doesn't really happen, right? Because they're not really
doesn't.
connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Obviously he's very angry about stuff, but this just doesn't seem productive at all. It's just like a man raging into the void, and that's
Yeah,
not
like
pleasant.
it's literally like it doesn't help that like he really wants to intentionally go for this kind of treatment, right? Like loud in your face, be it like with audio or even visuals, like they're so like saturated and just like what you would expect from watching the real stuff that he's trying to satirize or whatever. But it's so close to the real thing, like which in a way I guess is commendable that he's replicated it so well, but it's also like an assault on your senses that I couldn't deal with it.
Actually, I don't think it's close to the real things. The problem is the real
Yeah, I don't
thing.
watch them, so how would I know?
Yeah, I mean, no. So, from what I know of reality shows, however much I've seen of them, or even
Right.
like reaction videos on YouTube, which also is something that he's satirizing. The problem is that he's so caught up in dramatizing the aesthetics of it. He's not really capturing the insanity at their core, right? Beyond just that, who are you in real life versus who are you to the public, and how far can you go for, money, fame, etc., which is like a very
Right.
basic observation, right? Now, if
Yeah.
you were to just play any random clip from Big Boss, right, that itself would tell any rational person that these people are they need help.
Yeah, to then recreate Big Boss and like just make another fictional version of it. Like that's what I was thinking. I was like, what purpose does it serve? Right? It's just almost like in some way like watching the last few seasons of like Veep, when you could just watch Donald Trump be the president, and you were like, yeah, well, why does Veep need to exist now?
Yeah, but the thing with Veep, why Veep was still funny, is that we can see Donald Trump doing weird things in like a press conference or like the news, in speeches, right? But what made Veep so interesting was the kind of backroom conversations, right? Just the decision
Which like
making.
happen very rarely here. Like you get those, off-cam footage, which like happens in a tent. Like that's the probably the only part where he comes close to offering any kind of actual like commentary which works. Because everything else which like is just a recreation of like reality TV. It's just like so much like it. It's just like I cannot deal with this. Like you just like you're getting on my nerves right now.
Yeah, so what you need here is, at least for the reality show segment, you need more of that, right? More of what's happening.
Like the Curse. I don't know if you saw that, the Emma Stone and
no, I didn't.
Right. So yeah, I was like, because that was in a way this same thing, right? Like those guys had basically they're white people who were taken over a neighborhood, and they're making like eco living. But then they're pretending to like make obviously they're making like a reality show out of it, but there's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff. It's not just like they're making the reality TV, and like I think there's like one episode which is like 80% just showing like how the episode would look like on actually a channel, but yahan pe 100% or 95% is how it would look like to a viewer, and like 3% we're getting like the off-cam stuff.
Yeah, because it's not just the participants of the show that are being satirized. Yeah, I mean, ideally it shouldn't be just the participants of the show. They should also be talking about the people who make the show and the people who consume the show, right?
Yeah,
because a lot of people are actually consuming it sincerely. Like they aren't really consuming it ironically or to make fun of these people.
Yeah.
The show is being made to generate profits. It's not like, oh, this is a social experiment and we'll just have a laugh. No. So there is like this whole like machinery around these contestants, which for someone like Dibakar, I mean, it seems like something that you should have kind of at least understood, if not examined.
Hmm.
But here it's very like limited, right? Oh, these people are weird and they're on TV and let's just point fingers at them and that's about it. And the same kind of thought process spills over into the third one, which is the YouTube gamer Twitch streamer thing, which is just annoying.
Influencer sort of like, like
Yeah.
commentary again. But like if it's that one, to me felt actually almost like he's like, you can sense he's not from this generation anymore. Because the way he approaches it feels like very like, oh, I am the previous generation and this is like, I'm mocking and like, it just seems alien to me, right? You know, like you can sense that he's not from this culture, right? It's not like like say 8th grade is obviously like very sincere and it's like trying to be like vulnerable and stuff. But like imagine if they were 8th grade, but like, you know, a parody of like that kind of culture. Like you could tell like that person is still from that culture. He understands like internet culture, right? Like this is when he, especially when in the end, the way it derails into like metaverse and all that commentary, I could tell like this is not a person who's actually online. He's sort of like, this is almost like a second-hand experience of like what he's heard of like influencer culture and YouTube and Twitch, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's also the metaverse or the whatever manifestation of it that he imagines. That was like Sims did it like 30 years ago or something, right? So I couldn't even find like some originality there. Like it's the easiest thing to do is to imagine a virtual world in real life, right?
That's the most basic joke that people have been making for like 20 years now, right? Is that like, if you spend too much time in the virtual world, you will end up in the virtual world. Like that's kind of joke you're making basically.
So the whole time you're waiting for some grander kind of statement or observation, and then you are left with basically, oh yeah, are we in the real world even though we are, right? And I'm like, we are not, right? Because the world changes. We are like almost throughout the day, our waking lives, we are connected to the internet, right?
Yeah.
That is the truth. Now, you can either push back against it or you can find smart ways to kind of talk about it. But this movie is just like, that's a bad thing without telling you why it's bad, right? Beyond the most obvious point.
Yeah, but the most obvious point is like, oh, look, this everything is like sponsored by something here. Like that's a sketch level joke, right? That's a SRL joke. It's not a feature joke. Like that was my other like sort of observation while I was watching this. I was like, why does it need to be like a 2-hour thing, right? Like if you're making these he's identified like 3 major issues and he wants to comment on them. Like everything you could have said in 10 minutes. Everything he's done could have been reduced to 10-minute segments and basically an overall 30-minute thing if it needs to be on YouTube. Why is it stretched out to be 120 minutes and 40 minutes per segment? It's too much.
Also, did you notice that there is zero self-reflection?
Yeah.
At no point does he come across as somebody who is a part of this world also, right?
Yeah.
Because beyond just the simple fact that he probably uses a phone, he knows how to Google things, etc. He's on social media, maybe, all that is there. But he's also somebody who is, from what we know, unable to make the movies that he wants to make and has been able to release something in the theaters only because he's like collaborating with Balaji now.
Right.
That in itself is ripe for self-examination.
Yeah, the fact that your movie has to be called Love, Sex and Dhokha to sell, maybe you should examine that.
And I mean, the irony is that despite calling it Love, Sex Aur Dhokha, nobody went to watch it, which itself is like double interesting, right? I thought.
Yeah,
I fully believe.
You can't even do keyword baiting in theatrical releases, it turns out.
Yeah, and I was wrong. You could almost anticipate it, right? You could almost anticipate it. And if he was slightly smarter, he could have anticipated it. Like, bhi nahi hone wala mera, And that was just...
He would have used that, he would have used the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes of his own movie to poke for it himself or herself.
Not everybody is Martin Scorsese though.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, I would have imagined that if there's anybody who is... I mean, we have like ginke 3 or 4 filmmakers who have done like great work, right? And this person is one of them. And this just feels like beyond just the movie isn't good, but it just feels like this person is not in a great in a great place, right? If you watch this movie, it's not the work of somebody who is in control, right?
And even like, I mean, forget like we've been talking about obviously from a storytelling point of view. We were technically like it just felt like sasta and like like second draft art After Effects stuff. You like just put on like this stuff is going on big screen. Like I couldn't tolerate it watching on my first. I think I saw a bit of it on my computer, and then I saw the rest of it on my TV, and I was like, there is no way I could have walked into a theater, like a giant 40-foot screen and seen these graphics and been like, I'm gonna sit here for the next 2 hours.
Imagine paying for it. Yeah, you would have been more angry.
Yeah, because look at those graphics. They look so cheap. It looks like iMovie basic. The WhatsApp calls are like, you can tell some 10th grader made it like on his like 500 rupees ka pocket money budget. There's actual black sometimes the screen, there's like one photo, one text line, and everything else is black. I'm like, who is making this stuff? How is someone sitting on their like edit studio and saying, yeah, this can be put in a big screen?
And you can't really get away with a lot of it by just saying, oh, we are satirizing.
Exactly, it doesn't work, right? Because there's a line. After a point, you are now that very thing.
Oh, speaking of you are now the very thing, there is like, so the first time it happened, I thought, oh, maybe there's some interesting point, but as I would grow to realize, there is no interesting point. But he does a lot of like, you are in this character's kind of point of view now.
Oh, right. Oh my God. That got to me also after a point.
Well, I was like, iska point kya hai? Kaun sa character, firstly?
Yeah.
And why is it just willy-nilly?
Can you pick a character? Right? It's not even he picks like the protagonist or something of the story
Just
every time.
somebody.
In the metro and the middle segment, he's in Kullu also, ka POV also is given. And then Lavina ka POV also is given. So I'm like, but then what is the, like, are you drawing the line? How are you defining who we should follow?
Yeah.
And what does it add? Like, specifically, if you're doing POV, like, I should be able to get something from that perspective of, like, them either using their hands or there's something happening to them viscerally, which you cannot, if you show from outside, it won't have the same effect on the audience. So it just feels like a camera. It doesn't feel like, like I have a statement doing. It's just like, yeah, I thought of this cool thing.
Yeah. It happens with the Kullu character when she's with her partner.
Oh my God, that scene I literally could not take. That was way too in my face. Like the size of the human's face, like the way it was warped and stuff. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, which also felt like a weird, like considering what the story is about. Is that the only like scene in which you thought of using this POV situation, as opposed to because a lot of it is just Zoom calls also, and this isn't one of those like searching movies, right? Which the entire thing. It just breaks that.
Which he could have gone for that and just like kept it on someone's video screen going through it. But the way it jumps is jarring, right? Because 2 minutes is like Zoom call, as you said. And then for 1 minute, it's like a vertical video of someone reacting to what's happening to Kullu's life. And then another minute, it's someone's like, some officer is like video calling her boyfriend in jail. So then it's that weird POV. Then there's an iPad face call. And then the woman is like lying there, and then there's like a sexting thing going on in another scene where like there's weird perspective, ulta ho rakha hai camera, like it's so inconsistent that the jarringness just like stands out, and it becomes grating after a while. You just like do something natural.
Speaking of that, there is that one like longish tracking shot of Swastika Mukherjee, right? Which
that's probably like the closest where the movie is like feels like a movie and not like an assault.
Yeah, and I mean it's easy to kind of remember that because the rest of it just blurs together. And that one feels like, oh, finally.
Also, that's not a rare shot where we're actually outside, right? This movie's happened so much otherwise, like tight indoors or people's close-ups or like offices or like virtual like computer stuff. And for the first time when you actually like are in a thing and sort of like I have a perspective on you have context for this because of the first story, so you sort of know where this is going, like there's someone has died, so then that sort of is creating like a dread feeling as well, or you're like, oh, has this character lost someone?
But then it opens with like a music video
item number basically. I legit thought I played the wrong thing, or like like one of those like how you sometimes like, not that you go looking for that, sometimes you play a video on YouTube and it's a clickbait, but it turns out to be some rip-off of something else they uploaded and it's just a full clickbait. That's what I thought happened to me. I was like, wait, did Netflix upload like something else instead of LSD2?
Did we just get like rickrolled?
Yeah, that's what I legit thought for like 2 minutes. I was like,
but मुझे तो point समझ नहीं आया ना. So you have a music video and it's not really an item number, right? Because if you want to make an item number, you could have done that and been like, haha, that's how these movies begin, or at least that's how the bad ones do. But it's just like a slick music video, right? Which you just watch and forget and don't really take away anything.
Yeah, like it's not like he plants that in your head and then comes back to it like 80% and he's like, oh look, remember I showed you that? This is how we're going to like reflect on it now.
No,
It's just forgotten.
it's not like Tony Kakkar pops up in the metaverse and starts like nothing happens.
Yeah, like like something needs to be built on that. No, it's just like the movie is sandwiched between two stick-looking music videos.
Even the Seth Rogen movie had the kind of, I don't know, intelligence to call back the Backstreet Boys joke in heaven.
Yeah, because you have to do something with it, right? Because if you just show me two music videos and you don't really comment on it, then you're just like every other Bollywood movie who does the same thing.
Speaking of having something and not commenting on it, this movie has like Anu Malik in it.
Oh my god. I mean, this Tushar Kapoor uske baaju mein, so I was having a hard time being like, which one should I be enraged about more?
Tushar Kapoor ne kya kiya?
I don't know, just his existence maybe.
But like Anu Malik is like...
yeah, obviously, that's like next level. And yeah.
Tushar Kapoor, we don't know if he's done anything.
No, I just meant in terms of like their personality. But yeah, obviously, Anu Malik is like a different level. It's like obviously a criminal level.
Yeah, but like to have him in your movie, and I'm sure Dibakar knows, right, that he's hiring a person who has been accused of assaulting minors in his movie, and he's the only one who's been given a different name. So I thought that might mean something because the others are just Sophie and Tushar.
And then he's the only one who's given like this sort of like saintly like motive as well. He's like, how dare you insult mother? Like he's almost like redeeming his image in front of everyone.
He's doing that, but then also trying to say that these people are fake on TV and Anu Malik is fake, but then did you really need to hire him to make that point is what I'm asking.
I don't think so. It doesn't work. It's very muddled. I don't think people will take that as a... Most people will just be like, oh yeah, Anu Malik appears on reality TV and that's why he's here.
And that's why he's here, right? They will not think that...
That will be the takeaway. No one's going to read deeper than that.
Yeah, but that's the issue, right? Because once you hired him, knowing full well that this is what he's been accused of, then you need to make a... I mean, the rest of your movie is not very subtle. Then you need to kind of point finger.
Yeah, like his name needs to be like Mr. Abuser or something.
Something.
It's like you can go that direct at this point, given how blunt your movie is.
So I don't know. This felt like, please, let's just everybody forget that this happened.
Yeah, except I'm not gonna forget this happened. I'm gonna remember the next time Dibakar is making something. Be like, oh yeah, Dibakar is making this. Yeah, he made LSD2 last time. Yeah. Be fair.
So now you need to kind of redeem yourself twice is the rule, right? You make one bad movie, you have to make two good ones. Only then will you be redeemed.
Yeah. So like this, I mean, it's also like, I thought mostly it's like satirizing everything, like it's like it doesn't name like Big Boss and doesn't name anything, right? It always creates like alternate versions of them, right? But at the end, the movie ends with like a brand placement.
Which is what?
The channel at the end, which I thought was like just a made up. I was like, oh yeah, India Daily Life must be like some fake news channel created, right? To like, because they wanted to parody Aaj Tak or whatever. But India Daily Life is apparently an actual channel.
Oh, is it? And the woman is an actor, I'm guessing. The VR person.
Maybe. I mean, that I didn't look up, but who knows at this point. But I was like, what? That was such an insane, like, that was like a 5-minute long brand placement for that channel, basically.
It would have been funnier if it was actually Aaj Tak.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like you get the rights from them. They're smart enough to like mock themselves.
Or just take them for a ride.
Yeah, or take them for a ride. But I don't think that works in India. You just get sued. No one's like self-aware in this country, right? No one's ever ready to laugh at themselves in this country anymore.
But that's the reason, right? Because you can just, the same way that you can just convince Anu Malik to come on your movie and deliver like a, righteous speech without realizing that you're being made fun of.
Yeah. Yeah, actually he was asking me like, look, we're going to give you a Metaverse interview. They'll be like, okay.
Yeah, simple. And they'll be like, fine, cool. Hum brand partner hai
sounds like interesting.
But yeah, it's muddled, right? You can't really tell what's happening or what is like where exactly this person is. So yeah, it doesn't. Nothing works really. There's no redeeming quality. Even though you're probably angry at, similar things sometimes.
No, fine, sure. Like I mean, that you get, right? Yeah, you're like, yeah, he's angry about like things which like deserve to be made fun of, but. If you don't know how to make fun of them, then you're as bad as the YouTube commentators I've been ignoring for the last 10 years. Just like imagine like you get to make a feature movie. They don't get to make a feature movie. Like their videos reside in some corner of the internet. And they're
and also like fine there one person is like gaming and stuff, and that's how he kind of makes a living, but the movie doesn't really ask why or how, or like what, like is that what led him to kind of do this, assuming of course that this is something bad, which we are still not sure about.
Well, yeah, we haven't touched upon the fact that like he's purposefully baked like LGBTQ in every story, and I'm not sure like there's meaningful, I don't know, arguments he's putting across every time.
I mean, the second one is fairly, again, like on the nose, right? That there is injustice, which I guess, yeah.
So the second
course
one
there
works the best in the sense that, that rich people finally look out for themselves and move on. Like they don't actually care.
Yeah, but then it's not like Parasite, right? Which had the courage to be like, not just rich people. It is like, it is lawless out there.
Yeah.
Everybody has someone on top of them and below them. And
everyone's like, finally looking out for themselves. Like it's not able to go that far. But yeah, the comedy in the first and third one just seems as the movie muddled. It's just like, why? Like by making the gamer like a gay, like I'm not sure like how is it different if he wasn't gay?
If he wasn't gaming, or if he, for instance, is the problem that he's gaming, or is the problem that he's obnoxious as a human being? What is your issue? Right.
Yeah.
What if he was just purely gaming and he was the nicest person in the world? Would that still be in your movie, or vice versa? I don't understand. So समझा दो क्या है issue, भाई?
Yeah, I think that's the tagline of the movie. LSD2. समझा दो क्या है issue?
हाँ, चलो.
Right. That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review wherever episode, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening.